Right now, there's a 2-day summit taking place yesterday and today. And during this summit, we are talking about racial equity, equality, education, um, jails and prisons. They're talking about housing. When I tell you that so many things are rolling out for the city of Boston, we are seeking help from other states. We're seeking help from other cities, New York being one of them, Minnesota being another. We have quote unquote experts coming into the city during this racial summit to help us transition our city into the international city that it is, but having it be an accepted international city. And accepted, I mean, by those that already live here. So I can't even tell you how dynamic yesterday was. Today is going to be equally as amazing. And I just can't wait. I can't wait for you, the listeners, to find out what your city's been up to, because I think for once, I don't want to say for once, I think you guys will be so proud of the movement and the steps that are being taken for a better tomorrow. First and foremost, I sit here all day long and bash those that don't do right, right? So please, today, can you equally call the mayor and say thank you? Equally call your city councilors and say thank you, because there really is, as far as education is concerned, as far as equity is concerned, as far as housing is concerned, as far as jobs is concerned, everything that we sit here and complain about, there is something that is being done towards it. And I promise, as soon as the red carpets are rolled out, I will have somebody in the studio to break it down for you. But just know that behind the scenes, things are being done. You are being thought of, and you are the constituents, and your voices have been heard. So keep raising your voice, keep using your voice, keep picking up the phone and making complaints. Keep picking up the phone and making suggestions. Do not stop. Don't think for 5 seconds. Just because we have something in the works, that means that work is done. Where's Reggie B at? Work is never done. Because once we start rolling out these new programs, we're going to have more issues that we're going to have to tackle one by one. Now, quickly, one of the things that I learned that blew my mind was how imbalanced and unfair, as far as technology is concerned, as far as many of our public housing and our low income constituents do not have access to internet, do not have access to computers, do not have access to things that, as far as you and I are concerned, we have all this technology in our hand on a regular basis, right? And yesterday, I learned that there are so many children that need help with homework and don't have that help because they don't have the resources. Now, one of the coolest things, I'll share this and then I'll be quiet. One of the coolest things that I learned yesterday was New York City, just like you can take a book out of a library, they have these little hot spots, sort of like those clears, you know, those they're like individual hotspot things, and you can take them home and have your own Wi-Fi. You can rent them out from the library. The library raised $10,000. Yes, they raised $10,000 so they could buy, They raised money so they can buy 10,000 units of those hot pockets or hotspots, and they're rented out of the libraries just like you can take out a book. And I thought, how cool is that? How many here in the city? I think we have hotspots as far as free Wi-Fi around the city. Anari said they don't work because, you know, he doesn't have unlimited data. You better get that free Wi-Fi. He said it doesn't work. I'm not quite sure how you guys feel about it, if you've ever used the free Wi-Fi that we have here in the city, but I think that is absolutely amazing. They also touched on the fact that Comcast has a complete monopoly on the city. The fact that Fios is coming in, and it was a lot to take in. It was a lot of information, and I can't wait to have somebody come in here and regurgitate all of it to you, because I definitely cannot. But it was a lot of good information, and I think your city is making you proud. You might not see the results in the forefront right now, but I promise you, hindsight, your mayor is doing what he can as far as fighting a lot of the equity that is going on in the city that has been going on for years. And we can't, I know I love to blame him, but we can't point fingers at situations that occurred prior to his administration taking their place. So I would like to thank Mayor Walsh and his administration for all of their hard work, all of their dedication. And yesterday was really a testament to just what is going on behind the scenes and just how much people really do care. And when I tell you, there's so many people of color, not just in his cabinet, but work outside of his personal cabinet, that work in the other cabinet. Like, there are so many people out here that want what you and I want, and that's equity across the board. That's making sure we have our housing. That's making sure, just, I'm so excited. I can't contain myself, if you can't tell. Yesterday I heard, I don't know if this is true, please confirm, 617-282-0062. I'm under the impression that BPS is walking out of school for a second time today. Again, please give me a call, 617-282-0062. My sources say that BPS students plan on walking out for a second time today at 1 p.m. The call time for the children is 1 p.m. They're looking at over 1,300 students that will be walking out, and they are walking to Boston City Hall for a Ways and Means Committee meeting at 2 p.m. With that being said, I wanted to give you some information. City Councilor Tito Jackson just recently posted this. Please make sure you get a Twitter. If you're not on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, I completely understand if you're not about that social media. But if you are about your community, Twitter is where you need to be. If you're about actually complaining and making a change, Twitter is where you need to be. For example, Dove has this soap, or had this soap that said normal to dark skin. And I tweeted them like, Dove, hi, what is normal skin? Can you please express to me what normal skin is? They tweeted me back. This is Dove. This is $1 billion industry. This is a universal company. All right. Tweeted me back, listen, we really apologize. We understand how insensitive it is. We're making changes, alterations to our bottles, to our labels. Please accept our apology. This is Dove. If you have a complaint and you take it to a company on Twitter, best believe, remember, sorry, I had a complaint about the MBTA. They tweeted her 10 minutes back. If you have a complaint, you want real results, get on Twitter. City Councilor Tito Jackson posted this on Twitter. Boston City Councilor Tito Jackson invites you to testify at 3 BPS-related hearings, Tuesday, May 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's BPS Transportation. Tuesday, May 17th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's BPS Academic, Social, Emotional Learning, and Wellness. And then Wednesday, May 18th, Tayla Andre's birthday, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Are you listening? Because your city councilors are. And that was one of the complaints, was people are like, how you expect me to come to a hearing that involves my money? You take my money for your budget, but you don't tell me what you're doing with it, because I can't come out. I'm at work during these times. May 18th, Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The use of BPS water fountains at English High. This is where the meeting's taking place, at English High, 144 McBride Street in Jamaica Plain. They're trying. At the end of the day, they are listening. They are trying. Tell them why you're mad, son. Or at least tell them why you're walking up on your happiness, because they're trying. They're trying. Shout out to Anonymous who just sent this to me. I don't think this is the correct. Oh, thank you, Anonymous. So apparently not only our students here in Boston, Massachusetts, but Philadelphia Student Union on Tuesday is also having a rally and a speak out in support of Benjamin Franklin High School. There was a student, Brian Burney, who was assaulted by a school police officer. The students are saying they can no longer stand by and accept police abuse in their schools. They seek for Brian and the end of criminalization of the students and for the school to prison pipeline to stop in its tracks. Our babies here in Boston are not the only ones that are going through this nonsense. Again, I want to direct you back to the article that I read that for every 3 police officers in a school, there's only 1 guidance counselor. So we're switching out our guidance counselors for police officers. And these babies in Philadelphia are saying, nah, B. Anonymous said that we need to look up Philadelphia's student union and find out how that came about so we here in Boston can have a student union for our children. I think that's an excellent idea, and I will definitely do my due diligence to find out how to make that happen and pass that information along. The CIA admits that they sent Mandela to jail. A former CIA spy has revealed his key role in the arrest of Nelson Mandela, which led to the future South African president's trial and imprisonment for almost 28 years. The bombshell disclosure led yesterday to a demand for the CIA to come clean about putting behind bars a figure who became the world's most revered statesman. A veteran political associate of Mandela called it a shameful act of betrayal that hindered the struggle against the apartheid. I would like to read that again, if you will allow me. A veteran political associate of Mandela called it a shameful act of betrayal that hindered the struggle against the apartheid. Was that exactly what they were trying to do? Because we also have to remember that the United States government also claimed that they were the ones that killed Martin Luther King Jr. You don't believe me? Go read that. Go Google that. In a court of law, they were found guilty of killing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As we know, they blew up the row houses. It's actually that week of the anniversary that those row houses were blown up and people were killed. We also have to take it a step further. Let's go all the way back to the first time the United States ever bombed anybody, and that was on Tulsa, Oklahoma. The former CIA operative Donald Rickard was unrepentant in saying when he arrested the 1962 Mandela during that arrest, the world's most dangerous communist. He was the world's most dangerous communist. But now he is one of the most renowned men that you can find anywhere, and that a child from the age of kindergarten all the way up to a 92-year-old person knows who this man is. But at that time in 1962, Mandela was the world's most dangerous communist. Unrepentant. I want to give a huge shout out. There is a documentary that will be screening on Monday at RCC. It's called Out of Darkness. I saw the documentary. All of your favorites are in it. Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Claude Anderson, Tim Wise. Listen, I've been trying to get Tim Wise on this show. When 2 or more agree, can we please touch and agree? Because I would love to have a conversation with Tim Wise. James Small, Dr. Joy DeGrew. We love her, don't we? Anthony Browder, Sabir Bey. And Sabir Bey is the one that will be here on Monday at RCC. Let me tell you, they have all types of food being rolled out for this RCC event on Monday, 6 p.m. sharp. They will have some curry, some shrimp, some chili, some salmon, some jerk chicken, some oxtail with rice and peas, mashed potatoes, fried plantains, cabbage, veggies. I don't know what a patois wrap is, with jerk turkey, salmon, mac and cheese. Listen, if I wasn't going for the documentary, I would be going for the salmon, macaroni, and cheese, because that sounds amazing. Broccoli, spinach casserole, flatbread, the food sound better than damn screening. No, but in all seriousness, to get your tickets in advance, they're $11. To get your tickets at RCC, it's going to be $15. It's called Out of Darkness. It's a documentary similar to the Hidden Colors 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'll be there. Hopefully you'll come out. Again, Out of Darkness. Once you get a chance, head over to the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page, TaylaAndre. What I'm going to do is post the trailer for you. They have a 3-minute trailer, and then they have a 15-minute trailer. So I'm really excited. Again, Monday, 6 p.m. sharp. They said it's not no color people time. 6 p.m. sharp. The movie will begin. In other news, I know it's not Freaky Friday, but they're saying studies have said that female sexuality is more fluid than men. What does that mean, fluid? To be fluid in your sexuality means that you feel very comfortable in your sexuality. No one can dictate who you are in your you just have this like ooze sexuality. You're okay around. I don't know how to explain it, but fluid is the perfect word for it, because you can be comfortable in the space of men, but you can also be comfortable in the space of women. And again, it always goes back to science. It always goes back to numbers. Data is most important. We always knew females were kind of freaks. We knew females could go from a female setting to a male setting. We know women can be in the same room and change and not feel quote unquote gay. No offense to anybody who is LGBTQ. But for years we've been using that saying. It is what it is. We already know that sexuality is fluid. We already know that women are more fluid than men. But I love the fact, and the point of the story is that it doesn't matter how much we know something. We always need the facts behind it. We always need numbers to prove it. I'm waiting for the numbers to come out to see how many BRA bids have construction companies that are not fluid in having any minorities. Feeney Brothers won't hire a brother. I hope they're listening. It was revealed the 5 hidden killers that could send you to an early grave. A long and healthy life is not just about being free from disease. Loneliness and lack of smell affects a person's odds of dying years later. Isn't that crazy? I think I'm going to live a long life because I smell everything. They've always known that loneliness can be the reason why somebody dies early. I have always, because I watched The Notebook and I was one of those Disney character children. I grew up on Disney. So I think I'm supposed to be saved by a knight and I'm a little princess about to become a queen. Ideologies, all types of messed up. But after watching The Notebook, I always thought, like, after I die, I want my husband to die. One of my friends said, Taylor, that's the most selfish thing that you could say. But isn't that real love? When I die, you die. You were so lonely, you missed me so much that you just died. That's what I always wanted. But the truth of the matter is, it does happen. And loneliness does kill. They say that couples, there's a 1 in 1,000th chance that if a couple was together for more than 50 years, that once one spouse dies, the other spouse dies within the next 2 weeks. 1 in 1,000th chance. But first, you got to beat the odds and actually be together for 50 years. That's the real odd beater. Venezuela, that is not the right way to say it, especially if you're a Spanish speaker. But Venezuela's president says, orders a brewery to begin operating again as he declares a state of emergency. Listen, the president declared a state of the emergency because the beer company no longer, like, there was mismanagement in the beer company, and the president's like, listen, I really don't care what's going on. Y'all better start making beer again, or I'm sending you to jail. How is that a state of emergency? Could you imagine Governor Baker saying, listen, there's a state of emergency. There's no more Sam Adams. This is a real thing. 80% of Venezuelans drink beer on a regular basis. Like, I guess that's their water. And because there was mismanagement, they shut down the company. And the president said, listen, I'll throw you in jail if you don't open back up. Let's go. State of emergency. I thought that was hilarious. Colombia makes the biggest seize of drugs. Listen, 8 tons of cocaine. I didn't even know this was a real thing. I didn't even know that what 8 tons look like. When I tell you, I'll post it on the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page. It's worth $240 million. Police confiscated, this was in Colombia, 8.8 tons of cocaine along the border with Panama. Colombia's government said on Sunday that this is unacceptable. This is the biggest seizure of drugs in the history, a hit against criminals. I'm just here for the comments. Anybody, I love the comments. Somebody said, my supplier going to be dry this weekend. Yeah, crazy. Colombia produces some 487 tons of cocaine annually. So this is nothing but a little snip in the butt. 487 tons of cocaine annually. According to the United Nations, Colombia authorities seized 278 tons of the narcotic in 2015. Not even getting half of what's being produced, or not even produced, but they're not even finding or seizing half of what's being sent. The number of mass drivers ticketed for texting while driving has sharply increased. The number of drivers that have received tickets have risen. Police have wrote 6,131 tickets for the offense last year, and that's up from the 1,153 tickets in 2011. As a culture, we are more and more addicted to staying in touch at all times. Said the Governor's Highway and Safety Association. Distracted related drivers have killed more than 3,179 people and have injured about 431,000 in 2014. Let me give you those numbers again, baby. 3,179 people have been killed from distracted driving, from you texting and driving. When I tell you don't text and drive, the person in front of you might want to stop. You might want to go. That's an accident waiting to happen. It's also a chance of you adding to the 3,179 people that have been killed because you've been distracted. And that go for you putting on makeup. That go for you eating cheeseburgers. Listen, I've done it all. I already know. And I think about how dumb and stupid it is. Like you know those little daydreams that you have, those little flashes, and you think like, how stupid could that be? And I'm thinking like, how many kids are out here that just cross the street? They don't wait for a crosswalk. They're on their bikes. They'll pop out of anywhere. You can cause an accident at any time. And we think just because you can see in front of you, just because there's no one in front of you, there's no one in back of you, you think for 5 seconds that, you know, you have the ability to look down at your phone and reply to a quick text message. 431,000 people have been injured by our stupidity. I just want you to be mindful, baby. We currently have a call on the line, 617-282-0062. Good Rise and Call you live.
Oh, this is Bruce Marks with NACA.
Oh, hey, baby. How are you? Good rising, good rising. So we're starting Power Hour, y'all. We have a special guest on the line. NACA, for those who don't know, is an organization that is dedicated to helping people purchase homes and get their credit right. And we're going to have a great conversation this rising on how you and I can be first-time home buyers, because I would love to purchase a home. We'll see if that can happen in the state of Massachusetts and the city of Boston, but we'll definitely get through how to make that happen. Good rising, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm super fantastic.
So, where do we start? Do you want
to? Well, let's start with your name. Let's start with how long you've been with the company, and let's start with why you believe in NACA.
Well, I'm Bruce Marks. I'm the CEO of NACA. I founded NACA 30 years ago in Boston, We now are the largest HUD certified counseling agency in the country. We have 42 offices nationwide, and we provide the best mortgage in America. So with someone coming through NACA, everybody gets the same terms. So it's no down payment, no closing costs, no fees. Always at a below market fixed rate. So today's rate is 3.25%, 30-year, 2.75% for a 15-year mortgage. And we never look at someone's credit score. But it's really great to be on because, we were in the forefront of fighting predatory lending. So if you go back, in the late 80s, early 90s, it was NACA that took on the second mortgage scam here in Boston. We actually defined the term, coined the term predatory lending. And so we've been in the fighting predatory lending. So we do it through aggressive advocacy, but we also do it with providing the best affordable solutions for both homeowners who have an unaffordable mortgage, but home buyers who want the best mortgage in America. And we have $13 billion in this one mortgage product.
Wow, that was a lot to cover. That was a mouthful. Well, first and foremost, let me say that I thank you, Bruce, for founding this company. My first question is, we've had so many people have their homes taken away from them and through predatory lending. How could they have used NACA? For those who have, they already moved out, they already were evicted, their houses were already taken from them, already had to move in with family. How could they have used NACA to assist them in keeping their home?
Well, we had helped over 250,000 homeowners save their homes. So, we knew that this crisis was going to happen, because even with our mortgage product, and remember, we've been doing this for almost 30 years now, we saw that people were getting these mortgages that were structured to fail. So a great example is in Lawrence, Massachusetts, not far from Boston, as we know. And in a small city like Lawrence, we did over 2,700 loans, almost 3,000 loans in that city. And so we virtually changed. Because of NACA, changed Lawrence when they were burning down homes for insurance and all those craziness that was going on. We stabilized and rebuilt Lawrence. And then what happened in the, around 2000, early 2000s, was that people would come to NACA, we counsel them, and they get these mortgages that we knew that the homeowners couldn't afford. We knew that they were initially affordable for the first year or two, but then the payments would double, sometimes triple. So someone would have an initial payment of maybe $1,000, but it'd go up to $2,000, then go up to $2,500. So we knew that these mortgages are structured to fail. So I testified in Congress on September 12th of 2000, almost 16 years ago. And I said that this mortgage crisis was coming, that this mortgage crisis was going to require a huge bailout by the American taxpayer of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I said on the record, and one can go back and look at that record in the House Financial Services Committee, in Congress, saying that this crisis was going to happen. And yes, it did happen. Now I testified in 2000, and it really started to hit the fan in 2007. But it was really apparent that these lenders out there and these investors, that this was a home ownership deception scheme. What do I mean? That means that these lenders, Wall Street and the rating agencies, they knew that these mortgages were structured to fail. They sold them to investors. And these investors, who were supposed to be the smart, people, they just took the word of the rating agencies, and because they can make money. And in the end, it was a brilliant scheme, because Wall Street made billions. A lot of people made huge amounts of money, but millions of homeowners lost their homes. But then what NACA did is that starting in 2008, we started to have these massive Save the Dream events, massive events where we would have over 5 days. We would go from, in a particular city, usually in a convention hall, we'd have 20, 30, 40,000 people come. And we would get the lenders there, and we would modify mortgages on the spot.
Wow.
Bringing down people's interest rates to as low as 2%, reducing the outstanding principal, saving homeowners hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 a month in their mortgage payment. And we did this in over 142 cities over the last 5-6 years. And those are spectacular events where homeowners were desperate, everything's free, came in, and we got the lenders to be there. Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells, everybody. And they were there and they modified those mortgages. So we were in the forefront of saving people's homes, and no one did more modifications than did NACA. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that our goal was to show that it could be done and to have others replicate, build upon what we were doing. That didn't happen. So when people would have an unemployment mortgage,
we're going to talk about it.
To NACA, but if they didn't come to NACA, they were more likely to lose their home.
Wow, Bruce. Bruce, thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you how many people were unaware of the history of NACA and all of the work that you've done. I guess the next question is, if you sat on that stand and you said on the record that this is going to happen and it happened, why haven't you been tapped on the shoulders to say, we need you? Like, apparently you knew something that we were oblivious to. How can we utilize your skill, your knowledge? I would say, why isn't the government using NACA or having this be a national movement? But Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac just got billions of dollars after creating this problem. So I guess I answered all my own question, because it's all about the money. They really don't want to help people.
We're a bit controversial. So we engage in what we call nonviolent bank terrorism. So what is NACA's version of bank terrorism? It means that we hold these banks and these CEOs personally responsible for their actions.
Good.
Because in America, we used to have a standard called personal responsibility. And, everybody likes to say, oh, it should be, the homeowners need to be personally responsible. Fine. But then so do the CEOs of these banks need to be held personally responsible. So with NACA's nonviolent bank terrorism, what we do is we go to the bankers' homes, nonviolent way, usually on Sunday mornings, because that's family day. And we bring hundreds of homeowners to their gated communities. And, we get in there because there's security guards and the police. Many of them are NACA members. Many of them we've helped save their homes. Many of them we've helped put into new homes. So they wink and they nod and they point us in the right direction. And, and we go. I mean, we did it. We did the Predators tour where we, went to the head of Morgan Stanley. And, he lives in a country club. And one of the things that happened was that we went actually to his house, and we went to the wrong house. He said, this is a big house. It doesn't look like a lavish house. So I get a tap on the shoulder by his neighbor, says, no. That's his servant's quarters. His house is the one on the hill with the tennis court and the swimming pools and, the 20 some odd rooms. Went there, knocked on the, went there, took over his property. We were able to get an agreement with them to modify the mortgages. Jamie Dimon, head of Chase, What happened with him is that he lives in Westchester County, outside of Stamford, Connecticut, and Jamie Dimon still lives in this huge. He is it's a settlement. It's just these massive buildings on a hill, and he has a 12-foot high fence around all of his homes. So what we were planning to do is that we were going to go and we're going to surround his house, but he has a 12-foot high fence, but he's on a lake. So what we did is that
they took a boat.
Figured out that we would do an amphibious assault on Jamie Dimon, head of Chase's huge, almost like a plantation. And so we were there 2 or 3 days. We were there 2 days in advance. We, we're burying the rafts in our systems because, we want to be absolutely prepared when we had thousands of people surround his house. Like, it's almost like a prison, very fancy prison, to hold them hostage there. And that we were going to do an amphibious assault onto his property. And when we were burying the rafts, some of his security people came over the hill. Well, our guys are a bit bigger and meaner than their security guys, and so we chased them off, and Chase settled the next day, and then they were modified. We got them to modify mortgages on site. So, we've taken on the biggest players. We were out there, if you remember back, the campaign against Fleet. That was back, where we went after Terry Murray, head of Fleet. That was a 4.5-year war going after Fleet. And it ended, the last thing we had to do was that Terry Murray, head of Fleet, was speaking at the Newton Marriott to financial executives throughout New England. Well, it was sponsored by Harvard Business School. So we ended up getting the names of the Harvard Business School graduates. And about 40 of us went in to the meeting under, we had registered as the Harvard School business graduates. Each one of us had a name. They had not known that there were so many minority Harvard School business graduates. So we went in there and we each one sat at a table, took the tables, and before Terry Murray spoke, we shut him down. We said, "This is our meeting. We're taking over this meeting." And what he said to everybody there, and this is after we got him exposed on 60 Minutes, and we've been, we shut down his annual meetings, and we've gone to his country clubs, and we've gone to all his homes, etc. We've done all these things for 4.5 years. I mean, we made his life hell for him. And he said to everybody there is that what we were saying about Fleet Finance and Fleet was absolutely correct. He said, "I'm going to settle this in 2 weeks." We had 3 meetings with Terry Murray. We got him to agree to an $8 billion lending program for the inner city. We settled his lawsuits out there. I mean, for millions of dollars, settled them for Roy Barnes, who became the governor of Georgia, and others. And we got him to commit to a $140 million mortgage program to be administered by NACA. And the last thing he says to me, as everything's signed and we are leaving the meeting, he says, "I've given you everything you want, and you think mortgage lending is easy. Well, I've given you enough rope to hang yourself." Well,
how does that mean?
In essence, is that we're never going to be an activist again because we'll be so consumed with administering this mortgage program. But what he didn't realize is that we control this process. We control this process. So we have taken a $140 million mortgage program, and we have now $13 billion on the best terms, as we've talked about, that you could possibly imagine. And it's not just for single family, it's for 1 to 4 families, it's for purchase rehab, it's everything. And we continue to do the advocacy. We've taken on the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, we've shut them down. We've taken on the biggest players. We beat Barnett, we beat Bank Boston, We beat First Union. We beat Ford Motor Company. I mean, you know,
Who you need them to
beat
beat?
Senator Phil Graham. I mean, we take on the biggest players, and we are relentless, and we win. Haven't lost one yet. And now we're a nationwide organization with over 500 staff people and 2 million members. 2 million members. And, you know, all we say to the members is you have to give back. So, you have to participate in 5 actions or activities or things in support of NACA's mission every year. So we can mobilize, and we do mobilize thousands of people. And we're aggressive out there. And we're good at it. And we're good at the operations.
Bruce, I need you in my corner. Can we tackle the BRA while we're at it? Can we? Bruce said, I win all my fights. Lord have mercy. I have a message here from my auntie. She said, they helped us clean up and revitalize our bad credit more than 18 years ago. Forever grateful for him and to NACA. We are now homeowners with A+ credit, and we continue to be blessed. Thank you, Bruce Marks, for your dedication and hard work.
Oh, it's very nice to hear. Thank you for saying that. I have the best job in America. You can have a better job than I've got. I've got, an unbelievably hardworking, dedicated staff. I have, members who are willing to be on the front line to take on the fight, and and the resources to take on the fight when people cannot put the arm on us. And you're right, the BRA is a huge problem in Boston. And,
let's get him, Bruce.
Mayor Walsh has to do more, because one of the things that we talk about,
we just gave him credit,
the mortgage product, is that while the interest rate is around 3%, you can permanently reduce it to as low as 0%. So if you were, let's say you have a $200,000 mortgage. Well, 1% of that 200,000, so $2,000 reduces the interest rate by 0.25%. So that means that $8,000 would reduce it to a 2% mortgage, and $16,000 would reduce it to a 1% mortgage. Well, the city of Boston has funds that they use for down payment and closing costs. Well, you don't need down payment for a NACA mortgage because it's 100% financing. You don't need closing costs for NACA mortgage because the bank pays it. So in essence, the city of Boston is using its money to line the pockets of the banks. When if they were to use that $15,000 that they have somewhere, that means that people buying in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan could come close to having a 1% mortgage, fixed forever. And so we got to get the mayor to understand that he's got to think outside the box. He's got to work with organizations like NACA, who might not be the insiders, might not be the established players who go along to get along, but we get it done.
Okay, so the BRA has been a topic of conversation on this show many a times. We publicly bash them for everything that they've done. The whole gentrification of Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, everything that's going on, all of the billions of dollars. If I'm correct, it's been $5.1 billion over the last 18 months that they've spent on projects throughout the city. And a lot of these projects do not include the people of the city that live in the city. They're getting ready for this big boom of outsiders coming in. What exactly, or you've won all of these cases in the past, and we've moved forward. How can we use those same tactics here in Boston?
Well, we do the home buyers workshops. So at our workshops, we have 300, 400, 500 people come to each one of the workshops. And, these are home buyers who want to buy in the city of Boston, want to buy in Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan. But they need the support of the city, and, they need additional resources to make those homes affordable. So we got to organize. We got to put the pressure on the city to say, that, one, at NACA, we require everybody to be a registered voter. So if one is not registered, they cannot get counseled at NACA. As long as they're legally able to register, they have to be a registered voter. And we've got to make it clear to the mayor that yes, it's good that you have the support of the unions, but the unions also have to be part of the solution to make the development of housing more affordable. But you're losing the support of the people if you don't take drastic actions now to make housing affordable. And he's doing more on the rental side than he is doing on the home buyer side, but even not enough there. This is, as you're saying, this is a huge, the developers are making money hand over fist in Boston.
Absolutely.
Hand over fist. They're making huge amounts of money. They need to be paying more. Yeah, so it's good that he's pushing for an additional tax on them, but he's got to, it used to be under Mayor Ray Flynn, if you did development in Boston, you would pay up. You would pay up. And now there's more of a demand to do development under the Walsh administration than there was under the Flynn administration. And he's got to do more. Not what, on a case by case and, whether we like a developer or we don't, but on across the board. And not this idea that, you can pay into a fund. Mm-hmm. What is the problem? Mm-hmm. Rich people don't want to hang out with other people. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the best examples is where we have our headquarters. It's at 225 Center Street, mm-hmm. Roxbury.
Jackson Square.
Right there, we're in the middle of Bromley Heath and Orchard Park, and in our building,
good rising, King.
Use housing. So that means you've got very low income people living with people who have pretty significant incomes. And it works. And that's what you have to do across the board for both rental and home ownership. But we've got to organize. I mean, what Occupy Wall Street did was fantastic. But they didn't have the next step.
Yeah, they didn't.
What Black Lives Matter is and what they're doing is fantastic. But we got to keep the pressure on.
FYI, Bruce is a white man.
Everybody's registered. We got to, when we have the BRA hearings, we got to be there.
Bruce, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do think it is difficult because a lot of these BRA hearings are at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m. And one of the things that we had a show 2 weeks ago, Tell Them Why You're Mad. And they're talking to their politicians. And a lot of people were upset at the fact that all of these decisions are being made while I'm at work. So I'm at work making dollars for you to spend, but yet you're making decisions how to spend those dollars while I'm, again, at work. So a lot of people do want to attend these BRA hearings. A lot of people do want to come out to the events that they have. And it seems like the only events that they have at night are the ones that are like, oh, we're building. This is what the building's going to look like. What would you like for us to add? And there's not really conversations on, can we build here? We're just going to do what we want. And going back to as far as the BRA is concerned and, tackling them from, and I'm with you as far as the renting and what is it, 200,000 or 250,000 per unit that they pay to make sure that low income don't live there. I'm trying to find out how civically they're not being sued. You can't just say that low income in Boston, unfortunately, means black and brown. So how can they say, I'm going to pay this $250,000 to ensure that black and browns don't live here? Because $90,000 a year is not low income.
Well, one of the things that we just did two weeks ago was that there is this awful landlord, Morty Levin. I mean, we've dealt with him for years. He evicted Bella Luna out in Hyde Square. He doesn't rent out his places. He wants to keep the commercial rents high. So he'd rather keep it vacant than to rent at a more reasonable rent. I mean, he is a sleazy developer. And when someone says that, he tries to sue him. Well, let him sue us because everybody hates him. So he was having a hearing because he wants to do a development on Washington Street. Well, we shut him down. You know, the BRA, you know, they had a hearing. It was at 6 o'clock at English Hot. So, you know, we had a number of people there, and they said, you know, and it became a raucous hearing. And they said, and you know, the BRA people are saying, well, you know, you're out of line, you know, and all that. We're shutting them down. We're shutting them down, and we shut it down. And that's what we have to do. You know, we just can't go by the rules that they set. You know, they said, oh, you can only speak for, you know, 1.5 minutes. No, we're shutting it down. And that's what we have to do. We've got to shut it down. You know, if we don't like what, you know, and that's what's great about, you know, the Black Lives Matter and Occupy
He's a white man.
Wall Street and that.
Actually, let me show you a picture.
You know, they've been doing what NACA does as well, and that is shut them down. And if that means that we got to go to these hearings and shut them down. We've got to, you know, make sure that if they don't want to do a
that's
business,
Bruce Marks. That's who's speaking right now.
Massive phone calls into the BRA to shut them down. Let's when the mayor is speaking and where he goes, and he's talking about issues that concern us, and even when he's not doing that, let's go there and hold his feet to the fire so that he knows that there's a price to pay by not doing the right thing. And this is an easy one. This is not complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have these developers who are coming into Boston, who are just falling over themselves to do more and more development and making massive amounts of money. Boston's a place to be. Well, let's have them pay a price, you know, a much bigger price. And let's not adhere to the existing laws, in a nonviolent way, but shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you got to go to their homes. Sometimes you have to hold them personally responsible. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? Oh, somehow it is too personal. You can't go after individuals. You can't go after the politicians where they live or the CEOs where they live because it's too personal. Well, what's more personal than being evicted from your home? What's more personal than having your children having to move and having your children have to move out of their school that they've been at for many, many years? What's more personal than losing my community, where I grew up in? I don't think there's anything more personal than that. So holding them personally responsible and accountable, that's what NACA does, and that's what we should do across the board. And let's not adhere to their rules. Let's shut them down where they need to be shut down.
Bruce, I'm in love, Bruce. I think I want to be a part of your team. Can I have you in my corner?
Absolutely. We are in this together. We're in this together, and we can't be afraid to do all those things. And you know what I'm very blessed to have with NACA is that we do both things. We do the advocacy, and we do the operations. So it's not it was very standard out there, typical as well. You got an organization that just does the advocacy. You have a separate organization that does the services. We combine the two, and it works because people want to give back. People want to fight. So we say, look, yes, we want you to come with us. Yes, we will take the arrest. Yes, we got the bail money. But when
Bruce said, "Lock me up."
Took on Countrywide years ago. So we went to two of their offices, and one was on Center Street. We go in there. People took over the offices. They called the police. Cops came, and the officer said to me, "Hey, I'm a NACA homeowner. Held the door open for us. Told the Countrywide people, hey, this is NACA." All he said was, "Just don't hurt anybody." But and then he says, "Can this be one of my 5 participations actually here?" I said, "Yeah, we got you." And that happens all the time. So we have a lot of support from the people that we really want the support from. The area police officers, the the people who cut the lawns of the wealthy people, or who take care of their kids, or to do that, because that's how we get in. That's how we know what they're doing. That's how we track them down in a nonviolent way.
In a nonviolent way, but very confrontational, very in your face. I remember when our protesters went to Marty Walsh's house, what was it, 2 years ago? And people were so up in arms. How could you just go to his house? And Bruce said, listen, we want answers. Bruce, I fell in love with you. And so have these callers. 617-282-0062. Good rising, caller, you're live. Good rising, Queen. How are you?
How can we shut down Feeney company that doesn't hire black and brown?
Feeney Brothers won't hire a brother. How can we shut them down, Bruce?
Well, that's a great point that what you're saying, because look at what's going on. Ever since they got rid of affirmative action, right? Look at the police officers. The academies, the new recruits are 90% white. Or higher than that.
This is a white man speaking.
If you look at who's doing the work on all, just go and see, and just look at on the construction in the building out there, right? It's very few minority workers there, and the ones that are there are often the ones that are just doing the less paid jobs there.
Yep.
So you talk about these apprenticeships and the building trades and all that. Well, if it's a handful of people, it's more show. We got to get those jobs, and we got to force the issue there, because they don't hire minority individuals. They don't give people, minorities, the opportunities to get those higher paying jobs in the building trades. And that goes across the board, as you're saying. And those are the fights. We got to expose that. We got to document that. And then we got to protest, and we need those jobs. Absolutely. And it's a really good point.
Thank you so much for that. We have another caller on the line, 617-282-0062. Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good morning. How are you doing? I have a question, and this is Bruce from NACA, correct?
Yes, this is Bruce Marks of NACA.
Okay, I spoke to him before. Sir, I'm going through your program right now, got approved, but here's one of the dilemmas I have. You guys are using a system that's outdated. Like today, people do not stay on with companies from the time they sign on to the time they close. Like you have consultants that flip on jobs, you have construction workers, and we spoke before, and I did send you a message. I don't know if you ever got it, but I kind of got the runaround. And when I spoke to my counselor, he was like, that's just how the policies are. Like one of the policies is going to move into the 2016. Like it's not the grandfather's days where you stay with a company for 30 years. People can go to 3 companies in 1 year.
Sure. So sorry, that's my dog here. What our policy is that we don't look at whether you stay in one place for a long time. What we do is we want to see the stability of the income, right? And so that's one thing. And you can come by the office. I'll be glad to talk to you on that piece. But we don't. But you're right, because people will change their jobs. And so, and we understand that's the nature of the current economy, and it's been that way for a while. But as long as we see the income stability, then you're fine.
So I can come see you this time and not the secretary, because she gave me the runaround.
Yeah. No, I'm there. I'm there on the second floor. You absolutely, my friend. Come on by.
Okay, I'll see you Wednesday then. I'll see you tomorrow, bro.
Okay. Very good.
That is awesome that you could just call up and Bruce said, come to my office. I'm here. Come see me. 617-282-0062. Today is an amazing conversation. I can't tell you how excited I am in regards to the BRA, in regards to what's taking place with homeowners. Let's do this. Let's do this. Whoever is out here who wants to buy a home, we'll take these 2 callers and then we'll find out what the process is for you, we, us. What's up, Reggie B? For us to have this work to do and for us to become home buyers in the Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan area. Good rising, caller, you're live. Good rising.
I am a NACA member. I'm still going through some trouble with my home. I just wanted to know, is there any way that I can sit down with Mr. Marks and maybe go over what I'm going through in detail? It's been an ongoing struggle for a few years now. I kind of got away from NACA, but from what he was saying, I think I might want to come back to NACA and find a resolution.
Okay.
Now, and you have a mortgage out there with one of these lenders?
He asked if you have a mortgage with one of these lenders. Caller, can you hear me? He asked if you currently have a mortgage with one of these lenders.
Bank of America.
Oh, absolutely. So what we have is that we've got legally binding agreements with all the major lenders out there, Bank of America, Wells, others out there for the modification of the mortgages. So absolutely. So I'm at 225 Center Street, and my phone number is 617-250-6230.
Give that number one more time.
617-250-6230.
One more time.
617-250-6230.
And if you didn't get it that time, I'll post it on the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page. Go ahead, Bruce. I'm sorry.
And, or call 617-250-6222. And, but look, I'm hands-on. This is personal. So if someone is at risk of losing their home, someone can't, wants to purchase, we're going to find a way to make it work. Because we have all the pieces there. We have legally binding agreements with all the major lenders to modify mortgages. That means to change the terms, reduce the interest rate to as low as 2%, and save hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 a month in mortgage payment, and on the purchase side to get it done. And there's so much more even on the purchase side, because you can buy a house and you can renovate it. So let's say you bought a house for $150,000, but it needs $50,000 worth of work for a roof or some systems. You get a mortgage for $200,000. If you can't live in the house while the renovation is going on, basically the bank pays for the first 6 months because you can't pay the rent and the mortgage at the same time. So in Boston, the best opportunities are often buying a house that needs renovation, or buying a multifamily house where, you live in one of the units and you get rent on the other units. And it's so much better for an owner occupant to be a landlord, because you want the tenants in there that, you feel comfortable with. You're not going to max it out by having a zillion students in there who are wrecking the place because you're an absentee landlord. You want the families in there that you want to be with. So that's why, there's still the opportunity to be an owner occupant, to purchase a home, in Boston, and particularly in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. And we got to get it done now. We cannot wait. These opportunities are because these investors are coming in, and look what's happening in the city with investors. You go these high-rise buildings, these beautiful, buildings in downtown Boston and, in that area, and drive by at night. And at 10 o'clock at night, see how many lights are on, or during, 6 or 7 o'clock at night, see how many lights are on. And what you find is these are investors who don't live there. They're from other parts of the country or other parts of the world. And they're not stabilizing our neighborhoods. They're not investing in the economic activity in Boston. They're just speculating. And so that's what's going on. Outside investors from around the world are buying up these units, but they're not giving back. They're not being part of the economic activity in Boston. We need people who've been in this city to buy in this city to have affordable rents. We used to be for 15 years at on Washington Street by Forest Hill Station. They tore down our building. They're building 282 units of rental housing.
Yep. And I bet you none of y'all can afford it.
The lowest rent there is around $2,500 a month, $2,500 a month, and that's one of the lowest rents there. And there are virtually no affordable units there. Well, that's outrageous. And that's where we got to say to the mayor, if you want to be reelected, if you want a second term, well, you've got to change the dynamics now. And you've got to start putting the pressure and the demands on these developers. You know, we know that mayors have done this in the past. I mean, Mayor Curley, boy, if you messed with him, somehow your sewer pipes didn't work too well, or they went to the wrong place. You know, if Mayor Menino didn't like you, well, there's a price to pay. Well, you know, that was, you know, sometimes that worked and sometimes that didn't work. And we can't have it where we have it where it's just friends of the mayor. We got to do it where the friends of the mayor are the residents of this city who deserve and have a right and are demanding to live in a city with affordable rental or home ownership.
So really quickly, I want to get through these Facebook comments, and then I want to answer. Well, first of all, I was talking to Facebook while you were talking, and I showed them your picture, and I can't tell you how many people can't believe that there's a white man fighting for Black families.
Well, you know, I have, you know, if you look at NACA, if you look at NACA, it's really extraordinary in that is over 92% of the staff at NACA are minority.
92%.
And that's at all levels. That's at top management. That's at all levels. If of the 2 million members we have, well, it's the 2 million, 85% are minority.
Billy, I would have you call them.
It's an organization that, yes, it is true. I'm white, and I started it 30 years ago. But it's an organization, you know, that even when you have organizations that are Black-led or that are minority-led, look to see actually who is actually employed in doing the top management positions on down. So I don't think you'll find an organization quite like NACA around the country, and we get it done. Fight.
We're not afraid of fighting either. A question from Facebook: can you shed some light on property taxes, how they're spent, and how they're supposed to be used towards special education funding, etc., but apparently are not?
Well, you know, I would broaden the question out and really saying that there's a lot of taxes. You know, there's money out there. It's a question of where's the money going. I mean, here you have, you know, the city has the money for the affordable housing. Where's it going spent? Where is it being spent? You know, the question is across the board, whether it's property taxes, you know, where is that money being spent? But look at it. We live in a predatory economy. We live in a predatory economy. So that means if one is low and moderate income, or if one is minority, people pay more or get lower cost services for everything. Whether it's the supermarket that has poor quality than the same chain of supermarkets has in Newton, or the prices are higher. Car insurance in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, more expensive.
Skyrocket.
You know, even getting, you know, cell phones and everything. You know, even getting insurance. Whatever you look at, it's more expensive to be low and moderate income or minority. And that's what we have to, you know, take on. We got to take on the predatory economy, and we got to make sure that these services, these taxes are used in our neighborhoods, not in, you know, just the, you know, Back Bay or in other places where, you know, they spend huge amounts of money, but it's not spent on Blue Hill Avenue and other parts the neighborhoods.
So we are coming to the top of the hour. Bruce, do you think it's possible that we might be able to have you back on? Because we have a lot of questions that we're not going to be able to get to in the next 10 minutes. But can we talk about the process of today? I called today. I have horrible credit. I've been on my job for 2 years. I don't make that much because they, you know, as a minority, I can do the same job as Billy, and Billy gets paid more than me. But I'm working on my credit. You know, I still have student loans. I have some kids. I don't have the best, you know, $6,000, $22,000 in the bank, but I want to be a homeowner. And I walk into NACA today. What are my steps? What is the process?
Well, the first thing you should do is you should go onto our website at, you know, www.naca.com. NACA.com, NACA.com, and sign up for a workshop. It's all free. Go into the workshop, and then that's the first step. The second step will be that you will get an individual counseling session with one of NACA's mortgage consultants. And remember, we don't look at your credit score. We don't look at the credit score. Never take that into consideration. And what we look at is the on-time payments that you've made, primarily in the last 12 months, of payments that you control. Not ones like, for example, if you have a late payment because you had to go to the hospital, or your kids had to go to the hospital and you couldn't afford it. That's a payment that's out of your control. That's a reflection that we have a lousy healthcare system in this country versus are you ready for home ownership? So, you know, we're going to work with you to see, you know, so because understand that things change in life. So over the last basically 12 to 24 months, have you made most of your payments on time? And what one of the previous callers said, and we'll look at your income stability, not that you've been at the same job for X amount of period of time, but that you're able to maintain a certain level of income. So we will look to see whether you're ready for home ownership and then what you can afford. Basically, what you can afford is what you're paying in rent, if that's affordable, plus what you're able to save every month if you want to pay more. Once you get NACA qualified, that's pre-approved by the bank, then you go out and you could find a home. And, you know, we've got real estate agents, or you can use your outside real estate agents, and there is affordable housing opportunities. And then once you have that, then we get you through the process, and 99% and more people that we submit to the bank get approved. So we will get it done. And as good as this product, as good as it sounds, it's even better. You know, it's 1 to 4 families, co-ops and condos. It's new construction. It's purchase and renovation. I mean, it can be a multi-use where you have commercial on the ground floor and you live above that. I mean, it's the whole range, because we've been able to get this product in this process without having to compromise. So we control it.
Hold on, Bruce. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're saying that if a listener right now owns a business and would like to purchase a building that has mixed use, so they could have their business on the ground floor and their house on the second floor and then rent out the third floor, they could come through NACA to finalize that process to find a mixed use property?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we're a neighborhood stabilization organization. A neighborhood stabilization organization. What does that mean? That means we got to have, it's not just housing. We need the commercial entities that we control in the neighborhoods. That's what we need. So we're going to be about,
I want to hug him.
Stabilizing neighborhoods. That's what we have to have. I mean, the mayor of Buffalo, New York, had us at a state of the city event. And you know why? Because he says, I am going to foreclose on abandoned properties, even when they're paying their taxes. But because they're a nuisance, I'm going to foreclose on them. We met with the judge who's doing this, and he's turning them over to NACA to put owner occupants into their homes. This is the mayor of Buffalo who is taking back. So when he sees an abandoned property out there and we identify it, he'll take it. The city will take that property, go through the 30-day process with the courts, and we'll put owner occupants into that home. In Detroit, the Detroit Free Press says that the future of Detroit, this is their editorial, the future of Detroit is based on the NACA mortgage. We have had over 20,000 people come because through the homeowners workshops and now through counseling in the city of Detroit, because that's been cut off from conventional credit for decades. But we're based in Boston. We started in Boston.
This is huge.
We got to start taking back Boston from these investors out there who are taking our properties, and that's what we need to do. We got to do it quickly and in much bigger volume.
Oh, Bruce, I want to know what these steps are. I want to know how we can combat, how we can use NACA to combat the BRA, the Black Removal Authority. We currently have a call on the line now, 617-282-0062. We'd love to learn, how do we combat Feeney Brothers won't hire brother? We need you, Bruce. We didn't know how much we needed you, but we need you, Bruce. Good rising, caller, you live.
Good morning.
Good rising, baby. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I am calling for a friend, really, but she's interested in buying a house. Could he give his number that she can call in so
Sure.
that's with her?
Yes, ma'am. We'll give all the information right now. Bruce, how can the .com, the email address, the phone number, can we have all that one more time?
Sure. Most importantly, go to our website at www.naca.com and sign up for a workshop. That's the most important thing because it's all free. You know, there are a lot of groups that charge for workshops and stuff. Everything's free. So go to a workshop. Also, you can call you can call our office at 617-250-6222, or you can send me an email at bmarks, BMARKS, @NACA.com. And just, this is one of those things that, and I'll say, it sounds too good to be true.
True, it does.
And everybody should say that. No down payment, no closing costs, always at a below market fixed rate. And free services. Well, I mean, it's because of the advocacy and our operations. And we get it done. So, and it used to be where the process would take a little bit longer, but now we've streamlined this process. So by the time that someone signs a contract to when they close, we can now do that in 28 days. And, this product, it's just extraordinary, but we have the best performance in the industry because working people will make their mortgage payments. Wealthy people, they look at buying a house as an investment, not as to bring their family up and as their foundation. So higher income people will walk. Working people will do whatever it takes to stay in that home. We have the best performance in the industry.
Thank you so much. We have another call on the line. Caller, you will be the last one, and then I will take this last question off Facebook. Thank you so much. Good rising, caller, you're live. It's you, baby. Good rising.
Good morning. I know about the NACA program for years, but I have one question for you. With what I remember, if you had school loans or a car loan or something like that, don't you have to have those loans right? Everything has to be clean. I have a clean slate of no. Okay.
No, and the thing is that, but it's a good point though. Thank you, because we have to take on the issue of this unaffordable student debt. I mean, that's one of the next campaigns that we're going to be involved in.
And I bet you they win too.
We got to organize, not just, against these private, these for-profit schools that are ripping people off like ITT and others, but what the government is doing to make money on students. and to make money on that student debt. So that's a big issue that we have to be in the forefront, and we're working to do that. And then we got to see what we have to do. Maybe the answer is, that we stop paying those student debts across the board. We got to figure out ways that we can put the pressure on the government to say that we need affordable.
Thank you, Carlito.
Not student loans, affordable universities. What Bernie Sanders is saying, and some others.
We know who he's voting
for. To deal with the student debt, and we got to get a lot of this debt wiped out because it makes homeownership unaffordable for a number of people. But no, you should come on through. You don't have to be perfect. We understand that life is not perfect. We understand people do not have perfect credit, but they are ready for homeownership and they can have a payment that they can afford. That's the key piece. And we're going to work with you for as long as it takes for you to get it into that house. That is our commitment.
Thank you so much, Bruce Marks. Thank you so much for your commitment. Thank you so much for your dream. Thank you for your fight. I'm so appreciative. I'm not buying a house right now. I want to, but the first step that we need to take is to sign up for a workshop. Now, I have an inbox that says that the workshops are always full. Is there a way that we can have like a pop-up workshop? Because Anonymous hit me up on Facebook and said, every time I try and sign up for a workshop, I have to sign up 2 and 3 months in advance because the ones that are current are so full up.
Well, one is that it is a reflection. I mean, we do these workshops we have 300 to 500 people, but there's always going to be a workshop available in the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
Even if that means that we're going to do a workshop every weekend, we will do that.
Okay.
So there's always going to be a workshop, available in the next 6 weeks. We'll make sure that that's there now and going forward. Because the demand, it just gives you a sense of just the demand for the NACA program. But we will do that because we're going to work with everybody to get them through.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bruce Marks. Thoroughly appreciate you. And can we have you back in the next 2 months or so?
Anytime you want. I love being on. I love speaking with you and love talking to people in the neighborhoods because we've got to take on these fights and we got to do it both ways, from the advocacy and from getting it done. And we got to personalize it.
Absolutely.
Do it anytime. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You guys, you got to sign up for these programs. There is help out here. Shout out to Cleon James. Sometimes he said you have to go to Rhode Island in order to go to a meeting. And if that's what you have to do, you got to do what you got to do. Like Nana said, you got to do what you got to do. You better get in the car and go for a drive. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. Roca, it's no longer Roca. ZC Boston, formerly known as Roca. Half price sushi on Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Anari and Asaria said they have the best poo-poo platters ever. They're located on Mass Ave. Please get you a lychee martini. I absolutely love their lychee martinis. The food is magnificent. The service is great. And the owner is always there. His name is Jerry. Anybody who's ever been to ZC knows Jerry because he will come down, sit at your table, and tell you how he made your food. It's located at 801 Mass Ave. There go that dyslexia. It's real. 801 Mass Ave, directly across the street from the clinic. Yes, it's on Mass Ave. Free parking, by the way, up to 3 hours. Great food, great service. Do not forget, on Monday, Out of Darkness, the documentary will be examining the untold history of African people and the African culture, contribution to the nation of the world and the events that have contributed to the condition of African people today. Out of Darkness is narrated by Kaba Kameen and co-stars Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Claude Anderson, Tim Wise. When two or more agree, I'm trying to get Tim Wise on the show. Professor Anthony Bowder. Sabir Bey is going to be here for the Out of Darkness premiere. And again, this is Monday at RCC at 6 p.m. They're going to have food, baby. Curry shrimp, curry chicken, jerk chicken, oxtail, rice and peas, mashed potatoes, fried plantain, cabbage, veggie, salmon, macaroni and cheese, spinach, broccoli casserole, and of course all of some glutens as well. So make sure you head out there. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Faith Natural. Make sure you get that deodorant. Make sure you get that pum pum wash, the rose infused oil, my favorites. Do not forget, David Banner will be here in Boston July 23rd at the Strand Theater. Listen, the city is doing some amazing things. We do need to work, but it's collective. We can't do it by ourselves. And if you go back to what Bruce said, it wasn't just Bruce showing up at people's houses demanding for lower interest. It was thousands of people that worked together. We got to work together. Reggie B, shout out to you. Work to do, because we definitely have work to do. And if you want to see a change, we got to be the change that we wish to see in this world, boo. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Mwah!
Yep, try, baby. You know what it is? It's DJ Sus One, the feature presentation. Listen, make sure you wake up with Tayla Andre Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. on Big City 101.3 FM. Wake up with the Radio Rebel. Politics, news, conspiracies. Wake up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. It's the type of stuff I'm into, all right? Make sure you tune in. Let's go. French Connection.
I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys had an awesome show today. I learned a lot. This was the second time we had an interview with NACA, but I learned more today than I learned during our other show. I'll see if I can find our other show and post that online, but today was absolutely amazing. If you want to see the replay, you can watch the Facebook replay. Also, there is a YouTube replay, and you can listen to only audio if you want to listen in your car during traffic or whatever on mixcloud.com. If you had any trouble listening to the show today, you can always download our app and listen live. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, all of your love, all of your phone calls. Have an amazing day. YouTube, y'all. I ain't forget about you. Mwah. I love you.